Hello, everybody. It's a man of Manethrin here, and I'm back to do my season 2, episode 4 review of The Wheel of Trainwreck. And this episode is epic bad, and I don't know how you can keep on getting worse and worse at story, at dialogue, at anything and everything. But these guys are doing it and doing it well. It's about the only thing that you can say they are doing successfully, because this show certainly ain't it. So anyway, so we go with the episode. It opens up, and Ishmael's walking through this cavern, and we've seen this before in a previous scene release, because that's what Amazon likes to do with this show, is do scene releases rather than preview the show to promote it. It's insanely stupid. But as she goes and he starts casting this weave, which it's really interesting because his hands stay still. Um, and the weaves just go up, and they go all the way up to the Quendiar symbol up above him, and he causes a cataclysmic breaking sound from an unbreakable element. And, again, rather than time wearing the seals thin and the corruption of the seals be what breaks them, it's Ishi and his just wonderful magical abilities that break the seal. It's so dumb. And so the seal comes down, and all of a sudden he starts chanting this blood calls blood prophecy, and like it's an incantation for Lanfear to be able to rise. Like he's throwing down some primordial soup to sit there and say, well, eye of newt and three crow's feathers and a teaspoon of frog testicles, and now we have Lanfear rise. It's dumb. It's really dumb. She rises up. She's covered in blood for some reason. Um, I guess that's just so that they can really literally pin the blood calls blood line from the prophecy. Again, this is retarded writing. So the next scene after the title opener comes, and it's the old woman from the Cairhien party. Yay, we get to see her again. Ah, shit. And so what we find out is that there's somebody knocking at her door, and the man is all nervous about it. Why? You know, it, why? Why is this all why do you have to sit there and try and create drama through this at every single turn? Like everything is this big emotionally impactful type of thing. The man should come in saying, "Hey, bitch, your older sister's here." You know, or just if you want to do prim and proper, which actually that was prim and proper according to how this world operates, but you would say, "Oh, madam, your older sister's here." It doesn't have to be like this sniveling little milquetoast servant. Give me a break. So anyway, so it's Moiraine, we find out. Now this is more lore breaking right there. Moiraine has been with Lan since for 20 years as a warder Aes Sedai relationship. We know from the books that Moiraine has been in Aes Sedai for only 20 years. And so now this show is setting up this idea that Moiraine has been an Aes Sedai for much longer, and that she's only had Lan with her for 20 years, I'm willing to bet you she's had a previous warder now, according to the show. They're setting something stupid up with her backstory that is absolutely going to be atrocious. So we've got this crap aging up stuff. You know, the the whole thing with her sister. Her sister was a one-off mention in A New Spring, which half the book readers read, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. But more than that, it's not a bad book, but it's certainly not as good as the regular series. Anyway, so so she gets there and she is immediately an asshole to her sister. No pleasantries, no, hey sis, it's been a long time. Hey, we got to do things. It's her sister's like, we need to talk. And she's like, I just need a place to stay. I've got some people to meet, and walks off. And you're just kind of like, you're insane. Absolutely insane. So so it's Lan can feel better. He's not the only one she's a complete asshat to. So scene now cuts to Rand. He's busy cleaning up the fire that he started. So Rand's busy picking it up. He feels guilty about it, keeps on saying he's sorry. Selene is a bit aloof, supposedly, to the fact that he did it. I don't know how, but you know. Well, actually, she's not. She's acting like it. We know she's acting like it. And the show's trying to play it off just in case they've got 16 brain dead viewers out there that would think this is such a great reveal later on in this episode. You know, that the person that they cast as Lanfear, who is for some reason playing this character called Selene, is actually going to be Lanfear by the end of the episode. Oh my god, it really happened. Oh, that's so amazing. Uh, so anyway, she says she needs to take off and is giving her some time. She's got some family near Kinslayer's dagger. What's Kinslayer's dagger? Oh, well, if we followed the books, that would have been a cool thing to hear about, right? Oh, man. Um, so again, he says sorry. And now when he says sorry again, she uses the line, you keep using that word, it's going to lose all meaning. Wow. Really? You mean like sexist, bigot, racist, all the buzzwords? I mean, you know, they know it's true. They know it's true. Anyway, all right. So the scene cuts now. Nincompoop is having some emo memories of her time in the arches of McDonald's, and she's just having a lot of PTSD, and I'm getting that from watching this stupid show. But we see that she's now an accepted. She's got the robes on that are properly cuffed, or not the robes, but the dresses. Um, and 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 then Eggy brings her some food. Oh, good for you, Eggy. You know your place finally. Not. Anyway, there's just this tension between the two because the show wants there to be some tension, and this tension it's so contrived from something that Egwene said to Elaine that Nynaeve overheard in her room, but it's also this tension created that Eggy is jealous of Nynaeve's powers, and it's just kind of like, if this is how the tower operates all the time, then you're going to have nothing but anger and hatred going on between every single individual in the tower, and therefore you have an organization that cannot operate. Everybody needs to grow the fuck up. That's all I gotta say. Eggy goes to hug her. and or like wants to see the ring actually, and Nynaeve like pulls back again. Why? But then Egwene goes to hug her, and Nynaeve reluctantly completes a hug very briefly. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is all teenage bullcrap. It's horrible writing. And then we come to the scene that was the scene released for this week that they thought was a great thing to promote this episode, and it's Lan at Alanna's family's house. Now, this scene, they're there. Lan's all of a sudden there. No idea how they all got to where they got to. And the last time we saw Alanna with her warders, it was this poorly overacted scene where they were going to leave Tar Valon, and Alanna says, Moiraine needs us. How? How? Even though you have Lan there, you have not adequately described in any way, shape, or form how this helps Moiraine. I understand that we can sit there and take this for something of that value, but this is absolute garbage tier writing that makes no sense whatsoever. None. And these people should be ashamed of themselves for trying to write whatever they're trying to write with this crap. It is, there's no cohesion whatsoever, and it's driving anybody who watches this show with some sort of objective standard. It's going to drive you up the wall. It's just, it's period. There's no doubt about it. Wow. So anyway, they're sitting there eating or getting ready, getting food ready, and all that fun stuff. And you know, and Alanna brings this big old bowl and talks about, I will set on fire anybody who complains about the salt. And then offers Lan some food. He's like, no, thank you. I'm still digesting breakfast. You know, okay. And she's like, did you not hear what I said about the salt? He didn't say anything about that. He said he's still full from breakfast. So you're gonna still threaten him with fire even though he didn't say. Oh man, nobody listens to anybody in this show. It's horrible. And then you got family sitting there. Alanna's family. It's been a while since you brought anybody home. Which where does the third one go? This is how a family talks? This is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely horrid. And Alana's sitting there laughing it off like in some feigned shock thing. Like, it's so funny what you just said about needing a third bonus hole. Oh my goodness, so funny. You know, this is not, this is so improper. It's so destructive. And then, then we get to the next scene and it's Lan standing at a tree, peeing and peeing and peeing. And then Alanna pops up behind him with this schoolgirl style grin, almost like they want us to think that she is after him to bond him and that she's giddy like a schoolgirl because of the excitement of possibly having a first boyfriend type of reaction with Lan. It's like, this is a damn joke. This is disgusting. Absolutely horrid. And she says, well, Moron took your bond. And, so, I'm not worried about you committing suicide. And then he's like, then she says, you know, you can come to the tower. And Nincompoop's about ready to go through her accepted trials, yada, yada, yada. And Lan says, I'm not ready to repeat my failures, or I'm not looking to repeat my failures. again, this is Lan just being the absolute wuss of this show. They have taken what they did to Matt last season, and Lan has told Matt to hold his beer because they've done him more dirty in the 3 episodes that he's been in this season than they did to all of Matt last season. Well, and then they talk about this whole, I wish you could have known more on before she bonded you. So again, 20 years ago, she was different back then. And Lan, again, being just the destroyed character that he is, says, "Was she happier then?" Why are we so concerned about happiness and feelings in this show? It is such a waste of time. And especially from a character that this show has presented as so vile and hateful as Moron. Well, so now, speaking of Moron, we cut to her in her room in Cairhien, and she's busy having this emo journey in her room where she's just recollecting past times, looking at herself in a mirror, and because vanity. Goes to see Logain, and when she walks in, Logain says, "I should kill you where you stand." Okay, how are you going to do that? Are you going to run over and strangle her? Because the last time you saw Moiraine, she had the power. So, and you've been gentled. So, what do you think you're going to do? It is such an empty statement. And that's all that this show is full of, is empty, empty statements. And it just is so irritating. So then, Moron reveals that she's the one that sent him into the nut house. It's like, what are we talking about here? So now Moron sends him to the nut house. This is part of her great plan, which when she got exiled, she lost all ability to be able to have any sway with events. And Logain was still there at the time. So how is she going to affect him getting sent to the nut house? I mean, maybe, okay, she could maybe possibly set it up through Swan. But if that's the case, show it, for God's sakes. It's such a simple thing. But we know that they can't show it because they didn't think about it that far in advance. Well, and then as part of this whole thing, she had to have the foresight to send him to the nut house in Cairhien, knowing that someone who she didn't know was the dragon until 4 episodes later in season 1 was going to have the drive to seek Logain out to be trained in the one power, because only Logain could do that because it had to have been a boy, even though they didn't know it was a boy or a girl. So if it was a girl, anyone any of the ladies could have trained them. But you had the foresight to send a nutty guy to a nut house to train the Dragon Reborn just in the slight chance that it was a boy? Are you tracking what I'm trying to lay down? Because this is crazy. You're laying down all of these hypothetical things and manipulating people in such ways that is absolute flat out evil, and it's okay. Moron wasn't this evil in the book. She was not evil in the book. She was actually a likable character. And yes, she was ambitious, and yes, she had a drive to achieve what she needed to achieve, but she wasn't going to do that at the cost of doing things that are right. Some of the things, yeah, she'd run into moral quandaries with some of the things, like all of the characters did in the books, but that's because they were written properly. But yeah, so she somehow knew that when Rand's disappeared, that he was going to go down to Cairhien, even though he was wanting to get away from people because he would go mad. But again, this is all about inconsistent character writing and story writing. So it's okay. And now she wants Logain to tell her where Rand lives. And how the hell how was he supposed to know that? This is so ridiculous. This guy has only been around Rand for a day or two, whatever. You know, I couldn't tell you because this show has a horrible ability to tell you time frames at all, or to show you how time frames. And how is Logain supposed to know where anybody in Cairhien lives when he's not from Cairhien? So he would have a tough time looking and finding maps and getting time to be around things and get familiar with the layout of the land, right? Also, he's been in the nut house. So how is he going to know where things are and who are in those same places? It's complete nonsense. But magically, Logain knows all this. This is crazy. And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. And she's like, oh, you're going to tell me. And then you're going to train Rand. And you're going to train him to the best of your ability. And then if you don't, and when I'm satisfied that you've done it, then I'll give you this knife so you can do what all people who have been gentled want to do. Evil. It is so unbelievably evil. And I'm amazed people can't see this. How do you justify this as good writing, as good character development for anybody? It is absolutely atrocious. But hey, I'll let you stab yourself and seppuku, all that fun honor death stuff. This is not how they cared for people when they gentled them. I mean, they actually watched out for them. Logain in the books walked around all mopey and everything because he had been gentled, and he was always surrounded by people. They cared for him. They actually cared about people, you know, which is why they went to gentle false dragons, because they didn't want other people to get hurt. And at the same time, when they did it, they sat there and they took them in to make sure that they didn't harm themselves, to hopefully put them in a position where they can find some purpose that was greater than their need to destroy themselves. How about that? Caring for people, actually caring. But no, in today's society, self-deletion is a noble thing for some reason. That's horrid. Horrid, horrid, horrid. All right, so we're done with this scene. Thank God. Now Eggy comes around again. And, she's... The only thing that I got from this scene, honestly, it pissed me off so much. She, she says, quote, I lost someone I love more than anything. Referring to Rand, right? And how do you sit there and profess love for somebody like that and then treat them the way that you did all season long? All season long. Like complete garbage. And then say that I love them more than anything else. Wrong. Your actions speak louder than your words do, Eggy. You love yourself way more than you love anything else in this world, and that is by a long shot. Every time you've sought Nynaeve in this season so far, you've done nothing but pine after her just for the purposes that you could absolve yourself of your own jealousy and talk through things. It's been a youth game the entire time. And so I'm not buying this garbage, and no one else should either. You haven't loved jack squat. Next scene. Screw this bitch. Nincompoop goes to the warder area to look for Alanna's warders so she could train or whatever, and then they're not there because they're up having lunch and trying to get Lan to join the crew. And, so Nynaeve misses the boat with that, but there's another lapdog wanting to train, like, you're Nynaeve Almira. Oh my, can I have your autograph? By the way, will you spank me with your sword? Oh, this would be so great if you could train with me. Oh, it's like, I would so line up to be your warder when you come into the shawl. Oh, just give me the opportunity. This is so ridiculous. This fanboyish bullshit. It is just horrid. Well, meanwhile, Liandrin's over on the other side of the court, sulking in the shadows, looking and smiling at this whole thing. But she gets a note that the western shores are under attack. Well, it took that long. It took that long for a note to get all the way from the western shores to let them know of the attack. When it took the Beltane letter from Perrin to get over in, next day air or something. I mean, now I know that the note included not just the attack of some of the villages, but also the capture of Perrin and some of the Shinarans. But at the same time, what you've done with that, just saying, hey, when she goes into Lyanna and complained that, oh, you haven't done anything yet. It's like, yeah, no kidding, she hasn't done anything yet, because prior to that attack, you've had the Shanchan marching all over the place, including destroying a little girl with a 20-foot tidal wave on a beach at the end of last season, which we now know was 5 months ago. So you're going to tell me this is the first time a letter has gotten to the White Tower about an attack, and it's just so convenient that it includes Perrin and the Shinarans? Again, spare me. The show only cares about it when it's convenient for the purposes of storytelling, when if it was actual reality, this stuff would have been in the process of being dealt with months prior to that. What a joke. Oh, man. Yeah, so Liandrin threatens her, after they get catty with each other. It's stupid. Now we cut to Perrin having a walk with Elyas in the woods, and there are doggies jumping all around about him. They're not wolves, they're dogs. That's just a simple fact. Let's see here. So the doggies are all there. Perrin asks actually logical questions, and Elyas, just like everybody else in this show, when they're asked questions, they are very evasive about that, because the show doesn't want to have to describe things that the show has an absolute impossibility to describe. The show doesn't know how to go about it. Therefore, Elyas can't go about describing it, so he's just kind of dancing around all these questions, not giving parents straight answers. And if that's what having a mentor is, screw this. No one's going to want to join. I wouldn't want to. This was ridiculous. So anyway, Perrin, one of his questions, what Elyas reveals that we've known about you for a long time. Who do you think it was that freed you when you were captured by the White Cloaks? And he's sitting there logically thinking through. It's like, you could have saved us. You could have done all this and helped out so many things. And he's like, well, are you in chains? Damn it, is everybody this evil? Are you in chains? I would have been if I'm Perrin, I'm looking at him like, well, if you're going to be that way, see ya. But we already know that Perrin this is evil Perrin because evil should be everybody's prefix name in this show. Evil Moiraine, evil Rand, evil Perrin, evil Matt, evil Eggy, evil Nincompoop, all that stuff. Because nobody is sane at all. But yeah, you know. So Perrin asks, like, looks at one of the dogs and says, what's his name? And Elyas is like, oh, he'll tell you when you're ready. And then he goes into wolf vision and sees a wolf jumping up and down. And he's like, Hopper. Hopper's his name. And Elyas is like, close enough. And again, so I will say I am more akin to liking the character of Hopper than I am to anybody else in this show because at least a dog will act like a dog, right? Oh man. But Elyas also says they don't trust channelers. That's great. I'm amazed. Okay. We go on. There's Lan. He's reading that little blood calls blood notes. Um, and Maxim comes in and he's talking about how uh, he had been bonded to Alanna and that Alanna would mask his bond because he just felt it was way too intrusive. And of course, the only times that she would unmask the bond would be in battle or in bed, because we need to know that for some reason. I mean, who else needs a shower after listening to all this crap? I mean, everything has to be sexual or evil, and it's so horrid. Um, and it's just flat out disgusting. Moron then comes around. She's walking around the foregate looking for Rand. She talks to a guard. Um, you know, uh, and she finds out that he's not there because he's with Selene. And they're up on this little cliff face, and we've already seen this scene before, again in a scene release that they've done. And she goes on about this man that she used to be with again. It's like, all right. This scene goes on for 5 minutes. Seems like an hour and a half. I mean, if you haven't looked at your watch 15 times already in this episode, then you have to be dead or brain dead or something. Um, it just takes forever, and it's so pointless. And all these scenes that we've seen in here, if it wasn't for one scene slightly connecting to the next scene, having some kind of veiled reference in there, most of this show is absolutely pointless. This scene doesn't connect to anything. Nothing. It's absolutely, utterly void of content. We get Matt. Matt's playing with dice, ladies and gentlemen. Yay, dice! Yay! But you suck at them. Oh, well, but dice, go, Matt. So he's losing his ass to Min apparently, and then Min goes up to the barkeep to request a couple rooms and get some more beer, and then she's like, "I need to meet somebody in the attic. Are they here yet?" And he's like, "No. Well, let me know when they're up when he's up when this person's up in the attic." And yeah, I'm gonna go drink now. Whatever. Again, making everybody evil, and they're trying to make Min sympathetic in some ways because Moiraine's got something over her. You know, it's pathetic. It's horrible, 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 horrible story writing. We go back to Nincompoop, um, and this entire episode they have wasted so much time with her on her little bullshit PTSD stuff. It is it is such a huge waste of time, and it is so old, and I get so tired of it. But Leandrin's there. Liandrin is there, not Eggy. It's Liandrin. So we're getting more sympathetic play from Liandrin all of a sudden. I'm telling you, this is having all the markers of setting her up to have something happen for a redemption plot line. If not this season, maybe later. But there's going to be a connection between these two characters that they're trying to build that's going to let her come back to the good side. Nincompoop is going to see, I can feel the good in you, or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so Leandrin's consoling her, and then confesses that it's her 80-year-old son, again, because this is how they're going to get around the ageless face thing. They're just going to say they're a lot older than people. So son's old, and she didn't care that it would what impact it might have or how dangerous it was to have him in town, being that all the Aes Sedai are here. So I mean, automatically, if you're an Aes Sedai with a child, they're going to go after you for this. I mean, this is seriously your secret, your society that you've set up, that a women's organization is not allowed to have children, even though women are designed for one of the specific purposes of being able to bear children. Wow. I mean, again, more evil, you know. And then they talk about. She says, "Oh, the men have the taint, and they have a, they're cursed by that, but women really are have a curse too. You know, this slow aging, it's a curse. Oh, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for you? I mean, give me a break. You sit there and take your agelessness in this show and go out and hunt men and still them and apparently treat them like garbage afterwards. So you're going to sit there and say, "Oh, getting old is a curse." Yeah, well, deal with it, you dumbass. It's so horrible. And then she reveals to Nincompoop of the invasion and the capture of uh, a boy from Two Rivers and the Shinarans, and we all know where that's going. This is actually going to get the girls out of the White Tower. Holy crap on a cracker. Well, now we cut to the scene with the three warders on a hilltop. They're having meditation. Land is worried about not being equals with Moron. I mean, like, seriously, this is a hang up. Are you out of your mind? You know, and the other warder just laughs at him, which is actually a proper response. Equality is not an issue in this story, in the real book story. Everybody knows their roles. Aes Sedai have a role. Warders have a role. Villagers have a role. Queens, kings, everybody's got their role to play. They don't sit there and say, equal rights and have a protest board up. And it almost sounds like Lamb wants to sit there and do exactly that. And just go equal pay for warders with Aes Sedai, or something stupid. And then we've got Maxim goes up and shows Alanna the blood calls blood note. Alanna poorly acts her way through that scene. Oh man. And then we have Moron meeting up with her sister, and Moron giving her a taste of medicine. And this whole sister act scene is just, it's again more bad stuff. Because now all of a sudden the sister says, "Well, I've built up my network after you left, and I pretty much own this town. You know, that guard that you talk to, well, that's my guard. And these people that you talk to, well, those are my people. And so if you're going to want to know where Rand is, then you're going to have some tea with me." Wait a minute. What? So now all of a sudden you magically know exactly where Rand is? Did you have them followed? Because you didn't show that. You know, this drives me crazy. There's nothing in this that connects one dot to the next. It's just all this huge assumption that because Cairhien is this huge political city where everybody's in everybody else's business, then everybody automatically knows where everybody else is, especially when it's a matter of needed plot contrivance. And that's not how things work. You got to be able to show this stuff. And they're just going to sit there and say, "Well, it's political, and everybody has their spies, so she's going to know that, especially if she's well connected." So that's her purpose in this plot so far, at least as far as I can tell. Period. Is that Moron's sister's there just to be a vehicle for Moron to be able to go and find Rand out in the middle of nowhere, when there's no real reason that Moron's sister would know where Rand and Selene went off to, because it's outside the boundaries of Cairhien, right? This is this is insane people writing. They have absolutely no capabilities to produce something good. Okay, next scene. Screw this. Elaine, she's drinking with Eggy. Um, Oh, yeah. I wrote the name Egwene because, the two of them, they're so inseparable, yo. All right. Nincompoop uh, barges in and tells Egwene anyway about the news that Perrin's been captured. And she says the accepted, the novices can't leave, so you can't come with me. But the accepted, we can leave whenever we want. Can you? Yeah. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, because I at this point I think I'm going insane. But I'm pretty sure the accepted were pretty much contained outside of being escorted outside of the grounds. Were pretty much contained to the city, right? Am I missing something? Am I going out of my mind? Because again, they're just throwing stuff out there to sit there and like, oh well, she's got permission just to do anything she wants now because she's girl boss and spent 2 fake years or 3 fake years in the rings of McDonald's, and now she can do whatever she wants. Well, okay. So anyway, Aggie says, "Well, I'm coming with you anyway." And then as they're walking through the catacombs of Tarvalon, Elaine shows up behind them and she's like, "I'm going with you too." They're like, "Oh, this is not right." "Well, you should go back." And then all of a sudden there's Liandrin. Liandrin says, "Well, you're a complication." And then she wind blasts them all against the wall, which should kill them because they're all cracking their heads against stone. But you know how that works out, right? This show, I'm not totally convinced they killed Uno. Um, so anyway, so Liandrin, it's being revealed that she's evil now. Ooh, scary. All right. Then, now we have a tragic backstory from Min. It seems like she may be having a dream or something, and she has her relatives having her predict futures for people at a circus. "Oh no, it's so horrible. Oh, the travesties of seeing what people will do with their lives. Oh noes. Oh no, no more, no more. And then she wakes up and and instantly wakes up. There's Ishmael in front of her because yes. So he's sitting there in front of her and they have a discussion. She asks who he is, and he's like, he just tells her straight up, yeah, I'm your worst nightmare, which apparently that he is. And she gets all nervous about him, and he says, well, you're going to do this for me. She's like, no, I'm not. You get someone else to do your dirty work. Liandrin didn't tell me that she was in league with you. And he's like, well, you're going to do this for me because otherwise I can't take away your power. You want to be rid of your power, right? Okay, so Min now wants to not be able to see things. Because, I mean, to be honest, if I were this Min, I would not want to be able to see these things either because I would know that they screwed up my capabilities from the book. And so I would honestly negotiate with Ishi. I would negotiate with him and say, hey, how about you retract all my powers to the point where they're only what they actually are in the books? And I'll be perfectly happy with that because that's what they should be. It's not whole dramatic scenes, but anyway, so he says, "No, you're going to do it. Otherwise, I can't take away your powers. And I know you want that to be." And she's like, "Just I'm not going to let you hurt Matt." What? How you're putting forth the idea that you have feelings or at least a care for Matt in this story now all of a sudden. And why would you do that? Why would you think that you have this care for Matt when what you have presented to us is that you were only using him because of his stupidity to not recognize a wall that he could remove stone to go outside, that he stupidly dug a tunnel into the next cell, and then you would sit there and use that as an opportunity to do what Leandra wanted you to do and escape with him and get outside Tarvalon so that Ishi would then have you take him to Cairhien. What point have you, in all of your deception and lying with Matt, have you expressed a care for him? Hmm? Just because you've had a few conversations with the guy? This is another joke. You've got to be kidding me with this stuff. I'm not going to let you hurt Matt. And then she says, "Oh, you're gonna do you're gonna take him to Cairhien. I need you to take him into Cairhien, or I won't give you your powers." Oh, oh, you monster. Okay. Excuse me again. So you're going to have her express some actual moral fiber, only to have it completely destroyed because apparently her life goal is to get rid of this talent that she has. That again, it's evil. I hate this show so much evil with people. It's horrible. Oh, all right. So now we're at this other setting. There's a house, um, and I apparently Rand and Selene wanted to sleep outside of this house for some reason. So they're sleeping, and Rand gets up because he kind of senses evil or something, you know. But he gets up, he's walking around, pulls out his sword, you know, like pulls out a sword like he's gonna use it, right? I yeah. Anyway, um, or like he knows how to use it, you know. Anyway, then a fade appears out of the shadows, which actually would happen, and is about to chop him down from behind. And Selene, Deus Ex Machina, wakes up and says, "Behind you!" And then they get in a little fight. And and then at some point, Rand is backed up to the edge of this cliff face because everywhere's a cliff face, and then he uh, creates fire and burns the fade to ash. I don't think this was the show's version of Balefire because they've showed him channeling fire before. But in any case, so now that's a thing, and now Celine knows that he's the one that actually burnt her inn, which is really a one-room motel down, and she gets all feigned angry and or betrayed by this. Um, like she recoils, like she didn't know, or she's going to continue to act like there's this, like she's giving off this pretense of acting like she doesn't know. Anyway, and then it's all fixed because Rand expresses the fact that he loves her. What in the hell are you talking about? The entire show so far, and I'm going to completely separate this from the books. The entire show has been her manipulating him and he manipulating her for a room, and all she wants is the Rand D. That's right. That's what she wants. And he gives it to her up constantly. There hasn't been an emotional thing. As a matter of fact, they've expressed to each other that they don't want this type of relationship, basically, because they think about other people when they're doing it to each other, right? That's because the show's disgusting. And all of this somehow is in Rand's mind, the fact that this is the first woman who's seen him as a man rather than a thing. It's like, okay, one, I doubt that, but two, Eggy didn't. Was she just using you for little shrubbery berries and the occasional dishes hookup in their parents' in her parents' inn? You know, okay. The comment doesn't make any sense. None whatsoever. What other women have you been around, Rand, that look at you like you're some sort of monster, as you say? No, it's ridiculous. So, but because he confessed his love for her, she gets all, and they go inside. Why? Because bow chicka wow wow time. Let's go. And so they head in together. Again, that's when I started asking the question, like, why were they even outside? What was the point of any of that? And then we have this scene reveal with cutting in and out of the Alanna thing, and you know, oh, this and cutting back to the show cold open that, oh, this Selene, she's not who you think she is, and it's coinciding with her saying, I'm a monster too. And all of a sudden, she rises up and she's Lanfear. Cue dramatic reveal music and lightning crashes. And oh no, Rand, you're in trouble. Get away, or something. And then all of a sudden, out of absolutely nowhere, You didn't hear the door open, you didn't hear footsteps, you didn't hear a horse approach, nothing. All of a sudden, Moron is inside the house, and she stabs her right through the back, up through the belly, right? And pulls the blade out, and then reaches around and slices open her throat. How about that? Whoa, look at that. Lanfear's dead. Because in reality, she actually would be dead after something like that. Being a Forsaken doesn't mean you're immortal. If you died, even, the Dark One would then, reincarnate you again, you know, give you a new body, but you would need to go through some hoops, right? That because the body that you just had, it's gone. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, but apparently that's not how it works in the show. Moron knows this. She's not dead. Then why don't you make sure she's dead? Rather than standing there, you could set her on fire, you could whatever. It's so many other things that you could do, but nope. We need to get out of here. So she convinces Rand by saying she's Lanfear, the most powerful Forsaken. Wrong. Incorrect. Not even close to the most powerful. Possibly one of the top 3 most egotistical. For sure, actually. One of the most ambitious. Because she sought to use the most powerful Aes Sedai, who were men, to attain more power. That's Lanfear. Master manipulator. So anyway, he and Moron leave, and the camera pans down to Lanfear, and she opens her eyes, and the scene closes, and I am thankful that the episode's over. Anyway, I'm hitting an hour here. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments below. Thanks for sticking around for this, and we'll see you all later. Chagar Navran, Tai Sharman Etherin.